Hi everybody! Welcome back to another interview today for the Work From Anywhere Mastermind, and today is going to be a really interesting topic. So this is the first official interview that I'm doing. The first thing I did this morning was just like a live solo talk where I was pretty much just rambling about my own personal journey, creating a business that allows me to work from anywhere and specifically without burning out. You know what I mean? Welcome everybody. Where are you joining from? Feel free to pop in and ask questions throughout. I'm going to bring on our guest in a hot second. We're going to be talking to Jay Munes, and her work, her program, her everything is all about bringing magnetic energy into your business and basically not chasing after what you want, not forcing into, fruition what you want. And then arriving there and you're like, this isn't satisfying, this is burning me out, this isn't fun, what the hell? And instead attracting it to you. So I'm very, very excited to talk to her because this is work that I've been doing kind of behind the scenes on myself for the last 2-ish years. So I'm stoked to be talking to her. So feel free to drop your questions below and I'm going to bring her in. Hey, Jay.
Hi. Yeah.
Hi. How are you?
I am just doing fabulous on this beautiful day. How are you?
I'm doing well. It is raining outside, so it's not well, who says that rainy days aren't beautiful too? They're beautiful in their own right.
They are, yeah, it's same because I'm in Gig Harbor, Washington, which is an hour south of Seattle. So it's like, it's gray, but I just can't help but look at the trees and be like, oh, look pretty. And yeah, it's like gray and sad, but also really cool.
I do love that because it is really cozy. I actually was in Washington State for the first time last September. It was the first month-long kind of challenge that I gave myself to work elsewhere, like leave New York, work from anywhere. And I was like called to go there because I love the mountains.
Yes.
I love hiking, and there's like so many national parks in the surrounding area of Seattle. So that's what I did 2 Septembers ago, not this past, but the one before. And it was like the first real aligned action of me doing this thing that I was really being called to do, but I was so scared to do because I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to run my business, do all the things I need to do, service my clients, all of that, and be traveling and hiking. So, it was a cool experience. So I'm excited to kind of dive in to the behind the scenes of that and how we get there from the beginning.
And what a thing, because you do it, so then people in your world do it.
Yeah. And it's funny, like I got inspired to do it from somebody in my world, and then I did it, and then I had other people, do something similar because they saw me do it. Yeah, for sure. It's contagious in the best way.
Exactly. You go, girl.
So let's back it up. Let's kind of take a second to introduce you and share what it is that you do. What is your business? And if you want to dive in, like how did it evolve to where you are now? Take it away.
So many ups and downs and all around. And when I created the magnetic, I just watched it again and I was like, this is some good shit. Like I created it in 2020 after I was finding that once I was in full alignment with what I wanted, who I was, and who I wanted to work with, it felt really easy. And I was like, whoa, this is like a natural magnet. And then when I started talking about it with clients, they were like, how do you have that? And I'm like, I don't know. So then I realized that our gifts are something that are so it's hard for us to see it because they're
Mm-hmm.
so close, where it's something we're naturally doing, and it takes other people sometimes to point it out and be like,
Mm-hmm.
teach me how to do that. And then all of a sudden you're teaching and you're like, oh, this is another layer of my business. I didn't know anyone wanted to learn about it. So I mean, if you take it back to the beginning, in 2011 I was a health coach, and I was always fascinated with like, how do we put on weight, how do we take off weight? It has nothing to do with food, but food matters. So it was always, what are they starving for beyond food?
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, full body goosebumps. And then I felt like I hit my threshold after 7 years of full-time weight loss coaching. I was like, okay, I've reached the end of this cycle. What's next? And then in 2019, I led this retreat called Activate Your Gifts. And it was like the fastest enrollment. It was like in 3 days, it was sold out. And there was 20 women, and it was the biggest retreat I had ever led. And so it kind of like was that next stepping stone of trust yourself. You're a natural magnet when you do things you actually are obsessed with.
Mm-hmm.
And then right now in my business, what I'm doing is wealth consciousness and like languaging, and how you speak about what you do, and about how you speak to like even the people in your life, and how your words are these magic spells that go out and then create, like, it's just crazy what you can manifest just up by what you say and what you write and what you watch and what you read, and these continually evolving messages of us coming to our next iteration and not stopping it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the moment you stop it, that energy stops flowing and things get hard. And then you're like, but I've made my name as this, and I want to go, like, I am the queen of pivoting, and I attract a lot of pivoters. And it's like, when you put weight on what other people expect you to be, you lose yourself.
Yeah.
Versus being who you are in the current phase of life you're at, it's naturally magnetic. And so that's what, like, it's a lot easier than what we make it. And I also understand the confusion and like all the different iterations of self we have to go through to like create really successful businesses that work with our family life and our health. And that's where we're at, October 2023.
So many things you said in there just resonated with me. As I was saying, like, I have been doing this work for the last 2 years because I realized how many things I was really forcing myself to try and create. And like you said, all these other influences that were clouding my judgment or taking me off course. And I didn't know the difference between my own voice and what was the noise. So I feel like a lot of people here are at the beginning. A lot of the people that follow me are burning out or are burnt out. And as we both know, in that state, we are so disconnected from ourselves, and we have been so out of practice about even like getting, like, feeling safe enough to get still to even know what our voice even sounds like. So what would you say to somebody who is just at that beginning state? They're like, I know that I want to learn how to trust myself and listen to my intuition, but I don't even know where to begin.
It all goes back to why did you start? Like, what was the beginning reasoning why you became a business owner or an entrepreneur? And if you continually go back to like why you did it, there's a lot of reasons. It's not just one. And I can connect with why I started is I never fit into the 9 to 5. I tried. I was like, this will work. This, like, I gave 4 months in corporate as like a recent college grad, And I was like, I hate this so much. I was like, why does everybody stay? We're done at work at 2 o'clock. I don't understand the 5 o'clock clock out. And so I was like, it was really confusing to me. And I,
How did you know that it wasn't for you? Like, what, looking back, what did you feel? What did you sense? How did you know it wasn't aligned with you?
like, I'm looking back at one of these jobs I had, and it was like, I was trying to make a, like, just gray situation have color in it. I was like, this, like, oh, just the whole experience was, I felt so dead. Like, I was like, I have a lot to give. Like, in the morning, I wake up and I ride that bus to work. And then the moment I sit in my seat and I'm like tasked with these things that don't even matter, then I'm like, oh my God. And then I'm like getting a lean cuisine. And you know, like everything about it was lack of energy. And I was, I need color in so many ways, in energy, in food, in people. And I felt like we were all like playing these parts, and I was like seeing it for what it was. And I was seeing myself, like I was observing myself, and I was like, what are you doing? I had become like a part of the matrix, but I could see it. And I was like 20. And then I tried again to get into corporate after I was like, yeah, that's right. I need a 401k and I need retirement. I need stability, you know, like that's what I need. And then I had that and I was like, this is the worst thing ever.
Yeah, that back and forth where you're like being pulled into what, you know, is supposed, you know, is for a lot of people, but is like you're told is safe, is secure, is the best way to do this thing called life and work. But then there's something within you that's like, just not, it doesn't feel right.
Yes. Yes. So that's your intuition and that's your instincts. And your instincts start with a little whisper. They're like, you know, something about this isn't right. And you're like, I get it, but what is right? So then you stay there because you're confused about like, well, but what's the solution? What's the answer?
Yes. Oh
and
my gosh.
Yes.
What you just said is so real. And I feel like everybody listening and watching is stuck there because we know, like, not happy, this sucks, not content with this, not satisfied with this, but like, what do I do about it?
Totally.
Is like, I don't know how. I don't know what to do next about it. And then we just like get stuck in there.
Yes.
And then we just sink.
Yes. It's the worst. I hate that feeling. And like, I felt like that over the last few years of like, when I start flinging up and then I'm like, but wait. And I've been talking to a lot of people and I feel like we're all feeling this, like you're going towards something new, something brand new in this time right now. You're going towards something new, but you're straddling the fence. And there's this other side that's like, but I want to go back to what worked.
Yeah.
This
or what was safe or what felt familiar or
And like, this is a little scary. I know I can do it because I've done it before, but this is like, can I do it? And so you have to, what I think is the most important one, I don't know how anyone succeeds without a mentor. I don't understand because you're in your head and you either like a mentor or a coach or a therapist or whatever you can possibly do to build your support team, I think is essential. Like if you want to succeed in business, and I love it because I learned about it like in 2015 when I invested in my first mentor, and I had heard this thing that Lewis Howes said that stuck with me forever. He was like a professional football player, and he was like, I'd had a mentor and a coach the whole time. And then I was like, you know what? I've learned so much. I'm going to do it on my own. So he was like, so for one season, he didn't have a coach. He didn't have a nutritionist. And he goes, it was the worst season of my life. And he, like, when I thought, oh, I can do it on my own, he was like, why did I, like, because then I got in my head and I'm like, that is the problem, is when you get in your head and you stay there and you stay stuck hard because it's a loop, like you're just stuck on a loop.
Yep.
So when you get that help you get off the loop, whether it's like a program or like I'm right now watching The Secret before bed every night.
Whoa, old school.
Cool. I'm going back to gold for like the Stone Ages. I'm like, Golden Age? What is Golden Ages? And I find that the best for me, like to remember and know that everything is happening exactly as it's supposed to, is to revisit the stuff that worked at the beginning.
Yeah. I definitely agree with you that you, like, our thoughts and the way that we think and what we think becomes a habit. That's like something I really took away from all of my work with the nervous system and creating neural pathways
Yes.
and how to rewrite, how, patterns or habits.
Yes.
The same kind of habit as, like, you get up, you brush your teeth, you go make coffee, is the same way your brain works what you think and what you believe. And like the quote goes, a belief is just a thought that you think over and over and over again.
Yes.
And when you are stuck in that middle place where you just are telling yourself, I don't know what to do next, I don't have the skills, I don't have the money, I don't have the willpower, I don't have the connections, I'm too old, I'm too young, it's not the right time, whatever. And then those thoughts repeat, like you said, over and over again, and not having something to kind of like check you or to interrupt that thought pattern, whether, like you said, it's a mentor, or even, like, I've done a lot of courses.
Yes.
Believe there's a lot of courses out there, but I have done some really crappy courses, I'm not gonna lie. And I've also done a couple of really incredible courses that the person doing it asked these questions that got into my mind, and I started asking myself different things, and so I was creating different answers, and I just knew at the very foundation of it, like, something needs to change, like, at the bottom level, because I keep trying to change little things, like at the top, like, I'm just going to work for somebody else, or I'm going to pivot and do this business, or I'm going to try this thing. And it never quite felt the way that I wanted it to feel. So I just kept, like, digging deeper and deeper and deeper. One of the questions that I wanted to ask you is, what does it mean to be magnetic, which is the name of your course, and how do you become magnetic?
What you are putting easily seen and by your ideal people. So when you're being magnetic, when you're like it comes in so easily that you think it's almost a hoax. You're like when, and if it's a lot of new people, you still can have this happen. You don't have to be a seasoned entrepreneur. When you create something and you are watching your inbox and payments are coming in and you think, is there a glitch in the system? That's when you know you have something that is so magnetic from source, from the internal. Like, you put something out that is so magnetic, you barely even market it. It just, people get it because you're doing exactly what you want to do and want to talk about, and you don't care what anyone else thinks, and you don't care what so-and-so is doing over here. You stayed in your lane, you put your blinders on, and you were like a couple steps ahead of the people you were helping. Like, that's all. You just have to be a couple steps ahead. And like, I have a client and she came over and she was like, I feel like she's like a newbie spiritual woman, and she's like views me as like an old grandmother spiritual woman, which I am 300 years old. Like, sometimes like, she's like, I feel like I'm helping like the newbies. I was like, absolutely. You're just helping people that are a couple steps behind, just like you're just a couple steps behind in your journey. And I'm the old wise grandmother oak tree. And when you ask, like, how do you become magnetic? It's less doing, more being. And it's going to be the opposite of everything we've been taught and programmed and conditioned to believe, that the more we put out, the more things happen, when actually the more silent you get and the more you slow down, the more you can hear yourself. And the more you can connect what the true message is that's trying to come through, but you've just been scrolling or watching or listening or podcasts. Like, when's the last time you drove silent? When's the last time you took a walk without calling someone? Those are pivotal moments and opportunities to hear what you're saying to yourself. And it really comes in the slowdown.
That is one of the most powerful lessons that I have learned as well, is it comes in the slowdown. It comes in the silence. And in that you hear, like, you're able to listen to your needs, your wants, your desires, whatever that is, way more clearly. And I think in the more comfortable you get with just being with yourself, the clearer your voice becomes versus what's not your voice, right? Like, what's the noise outside, what's society, what's your parents, what's your upbringing, what's your, all of that.
Yeah.
What do you guys do in your program to help people? Like, what is the goal in your program that somebody who would take it would expect or want, through it?
There's actual like tips. So there's so I teach by storytelling. I can't do the like logical steps. I
love a story.
Right. It's like, and I have ADHD and I have so many thoughts flying in at one time and I have to choose. Like, it's sometimes so hard to focus unless I'm obsessed with the topic. So in magnetic energy, it's easy, I believe, because I just watched it again, to relate to it because you're like, oh, I get what she's saying. And I feel like that too. Or like, that happened to me too. And then you have actual steps. So you're learning how to become naturally magnetic in like an external factor and then internally. So you're learning like tips and tricks that I've learned along the way, and like how to walk into a room, even if you feel like, am I meant to be in this room? How to walk in the room and just be the girl that people are like, they're just like turning their heads and they're like, I'm sorry, who just came in and what do you do? Don't say a word. Your energy speaks for you. And the thing like that a lot of people think is that the most confident people are actually sometimes the quietest. And we really are sometimes the quietest because we're observing. We're like, and the one that's loud and she's telling you how many things she's sold, and you're like, and in my mind I'm like, I wonder why she's still doing that. Like, what does she need to prove to, like, spout off all those numbers? And I just find it very interesting. I'm like, and then you have and then like she's going to have her own crew of humans, and then my crew of humans are more of the introverts. They're the deep thinkers. They're like, I have this that I want, but how do I get that I want, but not do it in a way that I'm going to burn out? Because they've most likely already done that. They're like, I don't want to go that. I still want things, but I don't want things in the same way I got them before.
So real.
Yeah.
Let me ask you that, because that was a question that a bunch of people wanted me to ask on these interviews, which is, how do you start a business or continue a business that you're already doing without burning out? Like, how do you truly balance your work life, your family life, and take on creating a new business without burning yourself and your energy out? What would you say?
Well, I mean, and I've been through seasons. So right now I'm in a season where I am rehabbing after, like, in June I hit burnout. And then I took 3 months off this summer because I was like, I led a retreat in June and I had no energy for it. And so you can imagine after the retreat, I was beyond depletion. I was like, how did I get there again? Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, how did I get up here again?
Hell, I know all the tools. And I realized that I was sacrificing my own personal schedule to fit clients in. So instead of going to bar, I was like, oh, I can just like go to bar on Thursday instead of Tuesday. So what I started doing, and I think this is going to be really helpful, is I started scheduling all my personal things before I put my calendar out. So like
to your clients to book times with you. Gotcha.
Right. Like, and I no wiggle room. Like, I'm like, you did an hour of reading, you did yoga, you did bar, you meditated, and nothing else matters unless you feel good. And you can't even deliver good coaching if you are in such a depletion. You want it. Like they can feel that you're like dying on the inside.
You're not even able to be there fully. Yeah.
No. And you don't want to give everything you have. Like, because at the end of the day, you're with you and you're depleted, but for what?
Mm-hmm.
Scheduling is huge. Another thing is, I think you can create a business model in a way that does not lead to burnout. So, like for me, I'm restructuring right now. I'm not taking any private clients on in 2024. I've been doing it for 11 years. Like I've hit my max. So, structuring where like more programs, more speaking, more group, but like in like the least amount of burnout. Like some days I'm like, what did I do today? And money is still rolling in. And you can do that at any point. I think people think they have to get to a certain level when no, you can do it right off the back or the back.
When you say get to a certain level before you can do something, you mean create a better business structure to not burn out and not do one-on-one clients? Is that what you mean?
Do it from the beginning. Like if you're just starting as a business owner and like, you know, working with photographers and clothing designers, like, you know, when people were like, you got to niche, you know, niche down, you're just, and I'm like, no, because I know I can get results in any industry. And every client in any industry has had incredible results. So I think like that's tuning into your intuition too. So maybe the overall message is the same, but it doesn't have to be to a certain client group. Yeah. And when I'm saying like whatever level you're at, you can create the business that you want. If you're a new entrepreneur, start there. Like you create a digital program, do it live, and then have it in your program library. Or if you don't want to do private coaching, but like retreats and events really light you up, so go towards the retreat route. Like start public fitness classes in your gym, or like I started in Seattle where I created these fit girl classes and we walked around Cary Park and like women showed up and then they naturally asked, when are you going to lead a retreat? And I was like, oh, lead a retreat. I was like, cool. And then it naturally evolved, but it wasn't like I didn't make decisions right off the bat. I think that's a really masculine way of doing business, is being so logical and like step by step. And I get how it solves that stability factor, but as women, we have to flow more. We have to flow more, or else we try to do what they do and we have cycles and they don't, and it just doesn't work.
So number one is to block out time for you, and then, you know, leave the extra time open for clients, for work time, you know, as much as you can, but really prioritize blocking out time for yourself in what you can handle, and what you can, you know, make happen in your day as like a time boundary, so to speak. And then the second thing that you mentioned was restructuring your business, asking yourself, is how I'm operating, does that still feel good for me? Am I in flow with this? Or is my body telling me that, no, it's time to shift, I need something different, and lean. It sounds like you're saying lean towards what feels better, easier, more exciting, lights you up, instead of going towards, well, I have to do this because I've always done this. This is how other people do this. This is, you know, like that force, hard, like you said, like intense energy.
Ooh. And then just one last thing I want to is like, so right now, I like to play with myself in like a sense where I like to go, what is the healthiest version of me do in this situation?
I like this question.
Yeah. So then I'm like, because yesterday I was like back to back to back, and I was like, I mean, and not in like even business, but in personal life. And then I literally could not create the time to have something of substance to eat. And I was like, I didn't plan that one well. You know, I'm like, my healthiest version would not be happy with the selection I made. And I was like, what? And I was like, what could I have grabbed that would have been easier? And then I was like, oh, you need to go grocery shopping. You know, so like I problem solve in my head. I'm like, you need to prep a little bit more and you need to grocery shop. Or then it works the same when I'm like, what would the wealthiest version of myself do for this? And I'm like, well, I'd probably talk to my financial planner and have her add like $100 a month to those accounts. And I'm like, you smart girl. And then I'll like do that thing. But have that forward future self thinking.
Yeah.
And like with whatever goal you have, it works really well. And I believe it's a large part of quantum manifestation. Like
that's a whole other beast of a topic that needs a live unto itself.
Let's go. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. The quote that I keep saying this whole week, but when you ask better questions, you get better answers. And asking yourself, and really getting in touch with that version of you. What would the healthiest version of me do right now? What would the wealthiest version of me do right now? What would the happiest version of me do in this moment? And you're connecting to the need that you're having or the desire that you're having for that moment. And then you're able to go in and get that answer. And what I love is the answers aren't these humongous, like,
No.
you need to take this ginormous leap, like, I need to quit my job today. No, it's like, take a small little action step. And it sounds like you've developed such a trust with your intuition that what comes up for you is what you take action on, even if it's really tiny, even if it seems unrelated, even if it seems bare minimum. But that's what you like, the stepping stones that you follow.
Yeah. And for you, with your peeps, it'd be like, what would my most rested and nourished version of me?
I love that word, nourished.
Me too. You just want to like cuddle up into it with like, I'm like somewhat like you just, I can just picture the entire nourish. And like that can be tough to do, especially if you're like so tuned in and like you're trying to grow your business. So you're watching all these things and it feels so fast paced. And, even recently I had a part of me that was like, why do I put everything in 2 times, on YouTube videos when it's times, because I
double the speed
every time. And I'm like, so that's been really interesting to even observe in self in that. I'm like, but then I'm like, but it's so slow that it's so boring. I'm like, what about being slow is so boring? So it's like you start to unravel the like layers of like, when did slowness become boring? Yeah.
That's really good. The questions that you ask are fantastic. Do you include journaling questions in your course?
Yeah.
Oh, I bet they're really good.
Yeah, I actually like looking over it. I want to do an updated, like I'll probably throw in a new video and then do updated journaling prompts because we grow so much 5 seconds ago to now. So it makes me like continue it.
Hell yeah. Yeah. That's great. So just so everyone who's watching knows, so Jay's magnetic energy course is in the Passion to Profit bundle. Yeah. So what does your course normally cost?
It's
$300?
Yeah, it's like $300
but in the bundle, along with like 50 other ebooks and courses all on, becoming a better business owner, starting a business, working from anywhere. There's a ton of topics, but her course is in there and the whole bundle is $50. So it's just like a really good deal. It's not mandatory or anything, but it's just so much juicy information. And it's a full like 7 module course. It's a lot of value. And you can watch the videos, right?
Yeah.
So it's just so good.
I like everything really easy. I don't like complicated. So it's literally like videos, journaling prompts, you're done. You got what you need, you're done. Move on.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's so good. Any last thoughts that you want to share? Anything that's just like coming to you that you feel like somebody needs to hear to close it out? So in theme with the slowness, I had like a journal. I don't know where it went. Because, you have like 30,000 journals. I had one that this mantra I've been saying, and I've noticed even my like system wants to go fast. So I've been saying to myself a lot recently,
There's no rush, slow down.
Mm.
There's no rush, slow down. And I think it's like a frequency we've picked up with everything happening everywhere in the world, where we're like on a tizzy. We're on a tizzy frequency.
Yeah.
And so if you're like,
Good word.
right? So
Yeah.
something to remember is just like when everything's, and then also like, is it around you? Is it in you? Like, are you being affected by it? So just slow down. It's okay to go slow like that. I think that's just like really on point for right now.
That I think is words that we all need to hear.
Yes.
So
yeah.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
This was so great. Everybody watching, make sure you go follow Jay. Her, if you click this little thing at the top here, you'll be able to follow her and get all of her amazing content that she shares on Instagram. And then if you're interested in her course, plus all the other 50 plus courses in this really amazing Passion to Profit bundle, I say this for anyone, like I have a lot of healthcare professionals who follow me, who have their own businesses or who want to start their own businesses. I think it's perfect for you. It's really great for anyone who's just interested in different types of businesses and like getting these behind the scenes tips. Like I love that there's learning to buy your first rental property, how to do the Airbnb business. There's stuff on, you know, monetizing Instagram there and Pinterest, which is really cool. Just like so much value in one bundle. So even if you were interested in like one course in this bundle, I think it's worth.
Yeah. So cool.
So good. You can grab it in the links in both of our bios, and that's it. I will be on tomorrow. I'll be doing a live, and then I'm gonna do one each day for this 10-day mastermind that we're doing, and we're just gonna learn as much as we can from all these amazing experts. So thank you, Jay, for sharing your wisdom with us.
Thank you, Christine.
Bye. Soon. Bye.